My stepsister, the one I'd bullied since we were kids, was actually the female lead of this world. To save my own skin, I specifically applied to a different university to avoid her. But just as I was about to board my flight, my stepsister, tears welling in her eyes, grabbed my sleeve. "Ethan, aren't you going to mess with me anymore?" I transmigrated into a novel, becoming the jerk brother who constantly bullied his stepsister. And this stepsister, who I tormented daily, was the female lead of this world, destined to enact insane revenge on me later. Chloe had come to the Harrison family with her mother. The original Ethan always believed his own mother left because of Chloe's mom, so he targeted Chloe in every way. Beatings were commonplace. Chloe often didn't get enough to eat and was constantly subjected to pranks. According to the plot, what truly made Chloe hate Ethan was when he forced her to crawl through a dog door. This led to her being bitten by a dog, and Chloe's mother, trying to curry favor with Ethan, didn't care for her. Chloe could only hide in a small, dark room, nursing her wounds alone. Unfortunately, I transmigrated right when Chloe had just been bitten. I looked at Chloe before me, clothes tattered, face stained, full of grievance and pain. My heart sank. This was going to be a nightmare difficulty. By now, the original Ethan had been bullying Chloe for over a year. The 12-year-old girl in front of me was as small and thin as a 7 or 8-year-old. Before I transmigrated, I also had a sister, a treasure cherished by the whole family. How could a little girl endure such suffering? My heart ached. I gently took little Chloe's hand and asked if it hurt. Chloe, startled by my sudden change in demeanor, took a step back, looking at me with suspicion, probably wondering what new trick this was. I knew the original Ethan had a terrible reputation, so I didn't dare act too obviously. I could only wave my hand, calling a nearby maid to help apply medicine to her wound. Then, I pretended nothing was wrong and went back to my room. Once back, I kept mulling over what to do. According to the main storyline, young Chloe suffered a lot of abuse in the Harrison household, leading to a paranoid personality. Later, she met her destined male lead and found redemption. If I wanted to avoid this set fate, it seemed my only option was to start atoning silently from now on, hoping Chloe could have a better life in the Harrison family, and her future hatred for me would lessen. At dinner, I finally met the Harrison parents. The Harrisons were a well-known, influential family in Bay City. For Chloe's mother to marry into this family with her daughter, she must have had some tricks up her sleeve. She was entirely focused on her husband, completely ignoring her tormented daughter. She didn't even ask about Chloe's injuries. I felt sorry for Chloe but couldn't show it. "Dad, my media room is too far from my bedroom. I want to switch." Earlier that afternoon, I discovered Chloe's bedroom was just a dark storage room. For a little girl to live in such a place, the Harrisons really weren't very considerate. Hearing this, my father raised an eyebrow, looked at me, then at Chloe, who was eating with her head down. "Where do you want?" "I want to swap with Chloe. She can have my current media room, and I'll take her bedroom." Before my father could speak, Chloe's mom chimed in. "Ethan, dear, Chloe's room is so small and stuffy. It's fine for a little girl, but won't you feel cooped up playing in there?" Chloe's mom had a soft, sweet voice, the kind men adored. No wonder she had Dad wrapped around her little finger. Chloe kept her head down, never looking up. A surge of anger rose within me. I just want that one. I had to resort to the original Ethan's ultimate weapon, crying, making a scene, and threatening. In the end, I successfully got Chloe a new bedroom. At my strong insistence, Chloe's things were moved into the new bedroom that very night. I looked at the narrow single bed and frowned, but decided to deal with it later. On my way back to my room, Chloe stood in the hallway, looking at me with a puzzled expression. I grinned at her and didn't say much. The next morning, I was downstairs early, ready for school. The maids were surprised to see me so eager to go to school. According to the original setting, Ethan was less than a year older than Chloe. They not only attended the same school but were even in the same class. But given Ethan's arrogant personality, he definitely wouldn't go to school with Chloe. Sure enough, after casually asking a maid, I learned Chloe had left much earlier. I hastily ate some breakfast and took the family car to school. I had to find a way to get Chloe to go to school with me. When I arrived at the classroom, Chloe was indeed already sitting in the back corner, studying. Because of Ethan, Chloe had no friends in class. The girl's thin figure made my eyes sting. "Ethan, you're here early today?" A sidekick quickly rushed over to me, He saw my gaze fixed on Chloe. "Bro, did that homewrecker's daughter piss you off again?" His tone was malicious, as if he'd immediately go teach Chloe a lesson if I said yes. "Homewrecker's daughter?" My voice was unfriendly, and I raised an eyebrow at him. Perhaps my gaze was a bit intimidating. He flinched and took a step back. "Didn't you say it, bro? Her mom's a homewrecker, and you told us to help you teach her a lesson." I silently cursed the original Ethan. What a jerk he was, I thought. Then I waved my hand, feigning boredom. "I don't want to bother with her anymore, and you don't need to teach her a lesson for me in the future either." I said it calmly, and my sidekick froze for a moment. "Oh, and tell everyone else not to bully Chloe anymore." After saying that, I walked to my seat in the direction he pointed. It was just across the aisle from Chloe. My conversation with the sidekick hadn't been quiet. Chloe must have heard it. She was now staring at me with an expression I couldn't decipher. I just grinned at her again. Chloe turned her head back, her face expressionless. It seemed she wasn't as harmless at school as she appeared at home. After a day of middle school classes, I found out Chloe's grades were excellent. But perhaps because no one dared to offend Ethan, the teachers mostly ignored Chloe. I secretly decided that I had to change this situation. When school let out, I left first and had the car wait for Chloe at the gate. The girl finished packing her things and slowly walked out of the school. At 12, she hadn't fully developed yet, with no meat on her bones, looking frighteningly thin. I inwardly tooted. Chloe's mom was truly heartless to ignore her own daughter like this. Chloe saw my car parked at the gate, looking a bit puzzled, but showed no intention of getting in. Instead, she walked straight towards the subway station. From here to the Harrison family's Villa district, it was a 40-minute subway ride, and then another 20-minute walk after getting off. It was hard to imagine Chloe had always been neglected like this. Seeing she was about to walk away, I quickly rolled down the car window. "Chloe, get in." I called out to her. She seemed startled by me, standing still for a long moment. "Hurry up, I'm in a rush to get home and do my homework." I had to pretend to be stern with her. Perhaps used to obeying me, Chloe hesitated for a moment before climbing into the car. The back seat was spacious. She chose the spot farthest from me. I knew she was very wary of me at this point, so I didn't say much more to avoid arousing her suspicion. We continued like this, coexisting peacefully for a while, and Chloe gradually got used to taking the car home with me every day after school. We still maintained a lukewarm relationship. One day after school, I was halfway out when Dylan, the original Ethan's childhood friend, stopped me. He said there was a basketball game coming up and wanted me to join. I was anxious because I saw Chloe walking far ahead and was afraid she'd take the subway by herself. I hastily agreed and rushed forward. Sure enough, Chloe saw no car at the gate, paused for a moment, and then headed towards the subway entrance. "Chloe!" I shouted, stopping her. She seemed very surprised that I was behind her. "The driver said there's traffic, so he'll be a bit late. Why are you trying to go by yourself again? Didn't I say we'd go together?" "Oh, I thought you'd left," Chloe said faintly, then lowered her head, seeming particularly afraid I'd get angry. I sighed and ruffled her hair. "I won't leave without you in the future. Don't worry," I said softly. Chloe looked up in confusion, and there seemed to be something new in her eyes as she looked at me. A few days later, I found out the basketball game Dylan mentioned was against the 9th graders. A bunch of 7th graders playing basketball against 9th graders. Talk about fearless. After some time getting along, I had managed to convince Chloe to go to school with me in the mornings too. On the day of the game, I invited Chloe to watch while we were in the car. "I have a basketball game today. Wanna come cheer for your brother?" Perhaps it was the first time she heard me use that term. Chloe's expression was nothing short of horrified. I coughed, trying to cover my embarrassment. "It's okay if you don't have time, haha." Seeing my foolishness, Chloe actually managed not to laugh and just said faintly, "I'll go if I have time." When the game started in the afternoon, Chloe indeed came to the sidelines. I thought this was a great opportunity to strengthen our sibling bond. I'd interact with her a bit after the game. That way, all the students would know Chloe was now my sister, and no one would bully her anymore. Even though my basketball skills were decent, this body was only in 7th grade. Playing against 9th graders was a bit of a stretch. We were being dominated the entire game. Helpless, I had to resort to my special move, sinking several three-pointers in a row. Who knew the opponents would get provoked and start guarding me tightly, even resorting to fouls to snatch the ball from me. After a few rounds, I was somewhat exhausted. In a moment of carelessness, the opposing team's guard slapped the ball out of my hands and towards the audience. With a thud, a loud shout followed, "It hit Chloe!" I quickly turned around to see Chloe on the ground, clutching her stomach. I was so angry I punched the opposing guard and quickly ran off the court, picked up Chloe, and rushed towards the school nurse's office. Chloe was so light in my arms. It was as if she barely existed. She kept clutching her stomach, cold sweat beading on her forehead. The school nurse took one look and said she was hit in the stomach and needed to go to the hospital. After getting some painkillers, I quickly had the driver pick us up and take us to the hospital. Chloe was trembling from the pain but endured it without making a sound. I couldn't help but feel sorry for her. Even though I had called Chloe's mom in advance and told her about Chloe's situation, I was still the only one accompanying Chloe at the hospital. Chloe's mom even sent me a message on WeChat. "It's normal for kids to get bumped around, Ethan. Don't waste your time." I looked at Chloe lying in bed, receiving an 4 drip, and rubbed my temples in frustration. The doctor had just said that due to years of irregular eating habits, plus the impact to her stomach, Chloe had symptoms of mild gastric bleeding. I couldn't imagine what kind of life she had been living in the Harrison household before. When Chloe woke up, the porridge I had someone by had just arrived. She seemed a bit confused about her current situation, her eyes full of questions as she looked at me. I had to briefly explain what happened. Chloe didn't seem too concerned about her illness, just blinked her eyes and silently drank the porridge. Seeing her like this, I made a decision. That night when I got home, I made a drastic change and ordered the kitchen to prepare separate meals suitable for Chloe's stomach recovery. I also instructed the household staff to make sure Chloe ate every day. They all seemed to think this was just another new game I was playing to torment Chloe, but I didn't care. My actions, however, caught Mr. Harrison's attention. He finally couldn't stand it anymore and called me into his study one day. "Have you been paying too much attention to Chloe lately?" Mr. Harrison's deep eyes stared at me. If I were really a teenager, I might have been intimidated by him. Fortunately, I wasn't. "Dad, I was wrong before. We should treat Chloe better. Then people will say the Harrison family is generous and broad-minded. Besides, her grades are good, and I need her help." Mr. Harrison looked very suspicious. "Since when did you become so motivated?" "I want to study hard, get into a good university, and help ease your burdens sooner, Dad." My words were sincere. Although Mr. Harrison was extremely indifferent to Chloe, he doted on his son, Ethan. Therefore, hearing that I wanted to study hard, he showed great surprise. That very night, he announced an increase in Chloe's allowance and instructed her to help me improve my grades. Chloe looked at me doubtfully, and I playfully raised an eyebrow at her. After that, I could openly be good to Chloe. I frequently piled desserts and ice cream, things little girls liked, in front of Chloe. I also had someone buy her many new clothes, and at a suitable opportunity, I got Mr. Harrison to give her a larger bedroom. Under my careful nurturing, Chloe's thin body finally gained some weight. Her personality was no longer so gloomy, and especially towards me, she gradually let down her guard and was willing to share some study tips. Actually, I didn't need her to explain problems to me. Before transmigrating, I was a top engineer who graduated from Q University. While studying together, I overtly and covertly helped Chloe improve her grades. Although Chloe seemed to have changed from the character in the book, a sword was always hanging over my head. That was, Chloe would meet her destined male lead, and Chloe's mom, to protect her status as Mrs. Harrison, would sell Chloe to an old man, causing Chloe to eventually turn to the dark side. I had to find a way to get rid of Chloe's heartless mother. In high school, Chloe and I both got into Central High. Mr. Harrison was very pleased that I could get into the best high school in the province. He gave me a big red envelope and I gave all the credit to Chloe. Mr. Harrison also showed more appreciation for Chloe, and his attitude was no longer as cold as before. Although Chloe's mom had married into the Harrison family and maintained herself well, Mr. Harrison's flings outside never stopped. Therefore, Chloe's mom was always trying various methods to keep her husband. At the same time, she was also someone who couldn't stand loneliness. I knew she loved going to a particular gym. I was very hesitant to make a move against her. After all, she was Chloe's only blood relative. I wasn't sure what Chloe's attitude towards her was at this moment. That evening, we were doing homework when Chloe's mom, all dressed up, went out, saying she was attending some banquet. I glanced at Chloe, who was writing diligently. After entering high school, she was like a flower that suddenly bloomed, becoming exquisitely beautiful. She perfectly inherited her mother's beauty, but had an added touch of serenity. Chloe received more and more love letters, but with a protective brother like me around, most boys didn't dare make a move. "What's wrong, brother?" After several years of getting along, Chloe had started calling me brother without any reservations. I looked at her, wanting to say something but hesitating. However, thinking about what she might go through in the future, I steeled my heart. "Do you want to change your last name?" I was thinking of persuading Mr. Harrison to officially accept Chloe into the Harrison family. That way, if I managed to get rid of her mother later, it wouldn't affect Chloe. Who knew? Chloe frowned upon hearing this. "I don't want to." I was stunned. Such a firm refusal. Could it be that she still harbored hatred for the Harrison family? I looked at her expression and didn't dare say more. Chloe seemed to be angry with me, puffing out her cheeks, and didn't speak to me for a long time. I sighed silently. It seemed I had to find another way. Her mother's affair was about to be exposed. After much thought, I decided to let her meet her destined male lead, Liam, ahead of schedule. According to the book's plot, Chloe would meet Liam after starting university. Liam came from a family of doctors with an open-minded family atmosphere, and the two would end up very happy together. The reason they only met in university was purely because Chloe focused solely on her studies in high school to escape the Harrison family. I had someone gather information on Liam in advance. He went to the same high school as us, but a different class. This made things much easier. Over the weekend, I lied about wanting to buy some practice books and took Chloe to a bookstore near the school. I had done my research beforehand. Liam loved buying books here. I planned to orchestrate a chance encounter for Chloe. There were a few scattered students in the bookstore. The second floor was a dedicated study area for high school students. I saw a tall, upright figure there from afar and led Chloe up. Halfway there, I suddenly stopped. I left my phone in the car. "Chloe, go help me find the biology practice book first." Without waiting for Chloe to react, I went back to the car. I timed it, and when I felt it was about right, I returned to the bookstore. Sure enough, Chloe was already chatting with Liam. Chloe usually barely responded to other boys, except for talking a bit more with me. Indeed, the destined male lead was different. They could strike up a conversation as soon as they met. I ignored the strange feeling rising in my heart and walked over to them. "Chloe, did you find it? And this is..." I pretended not to know Liam. Chloe's eyes lit up when she saw me. "Brother, I was just looking for the practice book for you. This classmate recommended a few." Liam only lowered his guard towards me when he heard Chloe call me brother. "Hello, I'm Liam from Central High." I saw the practice books she chose weren't very practical, so I couldn't help but say a few words. As expected of a refined young man from a family of doctors, Liam seemed to have a natural aura about him. Even I couldn't help but look at him a couple more times. "That's very kind of you. We're also from Central High. Why don't we sit down and get to know each other?" With that, I invited him to a nearby restaurant. At the dinner table, I played the role of a listener. Chloe's biology grades were good, and Liam was preparing for the biology competition. The two of them chatted happily. I quietly put food on Chloe's plate and occasionally poured water for both of them. I just didn't know why, but I found today's tea particularly bitter. After dinner, we exchanged contact information, and Liam even encouraged Chloe to try signing up for the competition. On the way back, Chloe chattered nonstop to me. She probably had never considered the competition route before. I smiled and listened to her, occasionally replying. After getting home, Chloe flew to the study and took out the newly bought biology practice book. Once she started studying, she would become very focused. I had someone make some food, placed it beside her, and then quietly left the study. Chloe and Liam had already met. Now they could interact on their own. What I needed to do was focus on dealing with her unreliable mother. I had already figured out the gym and club she frequented. She was good at finding places, definitely not ones near Mr. Harrison. I went back to my room, made a phone call, and confirmed that everything was proceeding smoothly. Then I lay on the bed and started thinking about what to do next. Ever since Chloe started talking to Liam, she had been completely engrossed in the biology competition. She spent all her spare time preparing for it. To help her participate better, I had someone buy many competition question banks. I also asked Mr. Harrison to find a tutor for her. This way, I also had time to do my own things. My original goal was the economics department of a top national university. But thinking about the possibility that Chloe might still turn against me, I decided to apply to a university abroad. So, my study focus shifted entirely to learning English. Chloe had been my little shadow for these past few years. Suddenly splitting up, it was surprisingly me who found it hard to adjust first. When studying, I always wanted to turn around and call her. But seeing the exercise book in her hand, I swallowed the words that were about to come out. Liam had been coming to our class very frequently lately. He often shared competition questions and solutions with Chloe. The two of them also approached the biology teacher together and often stayed late in the lab. I became the one bored in the car, waiting for Chloe to finish school. "Brother, starting tomorrow, don't wait for me. Liam said he can give me a ride back." Chloe said this to me as soon as she got in the car that day. My hand holding the phone paused for a moment, then I nodded and smiled. She's all grown up, doesn't even need her brother anymore. Chloe blushed a little from my teasing and laughingly threw herself onto me. I looked at the bright and happy girl in front of me and suppressed the sourness in my heart. Chloe would have extra classes with Liam in the biology lab on Mondays, Wednesdays, and Fridays. Since I said I wouldn't wait for her, I could use this time to do my own things. I first enrolled in an online TOEFL class and then contacted the person I had arranged at the club. A month later, Chloe passed the preliminary round of the biology competition. The day the results came out, she excitedly jumped on me, spinning around happily. I smiled and patted her hair. If Chloe could get a good ranking in the biology competition, she could get a guaranteed admission spot at Q University. She might also receive a large scholarship. Escaping her mother and the Harrison family's control sooner would mean more security for her. There was about a 6-month gap between the biology competition final and the preliminary round. The final was usually held in the first semester of senior year. The time in between was quite ample, and Chloe wasn't as nervous as before. However, Liam still occasionally came to give her some practice problems, and their relationship grew closer. Even my friends couldn't help but tease me. "How can you, the sister-obsessed guy, tolerate Liam coming to see Chloe every day?" I twitched my lips. Who could stop the love story of the male and female leads? And so the sports meet arrived. As the top class in the sophomore year, we had always been relatively weak in sports. Therefore, the homeroom teacher specifically asked me to get good results in the basketball competition. I agreed readily. It was a good way to relieve the recent stress of studying English. Chloe had also been staying back with me to practice basketball recently, saying Liam was also preparing for the basketball competition. The competition matters were temporarily put aside. In the past, whenever I practiced, Chloe would always be by my side, focused. But now, she would prepare 2 bottles of water and occasionally send one to Liam on the other court. Every time she went over, I could hear cheers from the neighboring court. Then I would slam the basketball hard into the hoop. By the first semester of sophomore year, my height had already shot up to 6'3". There were quite a few girls watching me play basketball from the sidelines. In the past, Chloe took care of all my affairs meticulously. Now that she was often distracted, occasionally 1 or 2 girls would come over to give me water, drinks, and tidy my clothes. Chloe would pout and glare at me every time she saw this. I could only shrug my shoulders with amusement. Perhaps she realized that as soon as she left, someone would take the opportunity to give me things. Chloe actually managed to stop sending water to Liam. I was both amused and exasperated. After the preliminary rounds, we unexpectedly faced Class 3 in the finals. I didn't really want to play against Liam, but the first place in this competition was the condition for the homeroom teacher to help me keep my application to a foreign university a secret. I was determined to win. After getting on the court as a small forward, I was constantly breaking through and scoring. Liam was assigned to defend me. Our 2 teams' scores were very close. In the last minute, our scores were still 1 point apart, and the ball was in my hands. I was about to break through Liam's defense and score another 2 points. After a fake move to get past him, I didn't expect Liam to step on my foot. The moment the ball was thrown and scored, Liam fell heavily to the ground, clutching his foot, his expression pained. Chloe rushed past me. I was pushed and stumbled. Turned out she had so much strength. Liam was helped to the school nurse's office by his classmates from Class 3. I stood there motionless until the sports committee member came to call me. Only then did I feel the pain in my leg. When Liam fell, he landed heavily on my leg. Now, my lower leg was already bruised. Chloe, who had walked some distance with the class 3 students, finally remembered me. "Brother, are you okay?" She rushed back to me, her face showing concern. "It's nothing. Go check on Liam for me. I feel quite bad about it." I patted her head and gave her a gentle push. Chloe hesitated, looking back every few steps. Seeing me wave at her, she gritted her teeth and followed them. Only then did I grimace and lean on the sports committee member's shoulder. Quick, buddy, I can't take it, it hurts a bit." The sports committee member glared at me irritably and, with another classmate, helped me to a nearby bench. Turned out Liam was fine, but I, on the other hand, had a fractured lower leg from his kick. Soon, I was picked up by the family driver and taken to the hospital. In a chaotic rush, a cast was put on. By the time I was getting an anti-inflammatory shot at the hospital, Chloe came in with red eyes. "Brother, how did you get so seriously injured?" The girl's tearful appearance made me stop the hand that was about to eat fried chicken. "I'm fine, aren't I?" I casually wiggled my foot. "Don't move." Chloe glared at me fiercely. I rubbed my nose, forgetting I had just touched the fried chicken, and smeared oil all over my face. Seeing this, Chloe burst out laughing. I laughed along with her. "Why did you come over? Is Liam okay?" I was thinking this was a good opportunity to cultivate their relationship. Why did Chloe come to me? "You still mention Liam. If it weren't for him, how would you have gotten hurt?" Chloe huffed angrily and hit my arm, as if she wasn't the one who had pushed me aside and rushed to see Liam just moments ago. "A grown sister has her own thoughts. I don't blame you," I said, still in the mood to joke with her. Chloe stomped her foot in anger, and so, she stayed at the hospital to take care of me for the whole afternoon. In the evening, the doctor said I could go home to recuperate, but I probably wouldn't be able to use my foot for 3 months. So Chloe became my little shadow again, pushing me to and from school every day, never leaving my side. Even when Liam came to ask her to do experiments together, she refused several times. I thought I absolutely couldn't affect the male and female lead's romance and tried to convince her that she didn't need to follow me around like this. After she glared at me a few times, I didn't dare say anything more. Because of my leg injury, I missed the TOEFL exam at the end of the month. But it was just as well. With Chloe sticking to me so closely now, taking exams wasn't convenient anyway. I was still a bit worried about Chloe and Liam's relationship status. A guy like Liam, good-looking and good at studying, would inevitably attract the attention of other girls at school. Sure enough, perhaps because of too much contact with Liam recently, a lot of news about him spread to our side. Someone confessed to him again, he won some award again, and so on. Chloe didn't seem very interested in this news, just occasionally exchanging practice problems with Liam. I really couldn't understand her anymore. "Brother, I told Auntie to make pig's feet soup." Hearing Chloe's voice, my face turned pale. Because of my injured foot, Chloe had been obsessed with feeding me things like pig's feet and chicken feet. I was starting to feel nauseous from eating so much of it. "Can I not eat it?" I begged her pitifully. "No. Dad also said you need to eat more." Chloe even brought out Mr. Harrison. Her feelings towards Mr. Harrison had become less resistant in the past 2 years, and sometimes she could even call him Dad. I knew Mr. Harrison was good to her partly because of me, and partly because her academic performance was good and would be useful to the Harrison family in the future. However, for the current Chloe, these were very important, so I let Mr. Harrison's utilitarian flattery continue. By the time I was due to have my cast removed, the semester was already over. Before the holidays, I went to have the cast removed, but I still had to use a wheelchair for a few more days. Chloe's biology competition was scheduled to start right after school resumed. She attended a training camp during the winter break, together with Liam. I was happy to see this. One day, I had just returned from physical therapy at the hospital when I heard Mr. Harrison's angry roar from the study. I glanced at my watch knowingly. Slowly, I made my way to the study. "Dad, what's wrong?" In the study, Mr. Harrison was furiously pacing, hands on his hips. Chloe's mom was kneeling on the floor, disheveled, with a clear palm print on her face. In front of her were scattered photos and a lab report. "This is none of your business, Ethan. Go back to your room." Mr. Harrison clearly didn't want me to know too much, but I couldn't go back at this moment. I was needed for the upcoming scenes. Why are you so angry, Dad? What's wrong with Aunt Chloe? Saying this, I maneuvered my wheelchair in front of Chloe's mom. Before Mr. Harrison could stop me, I picked up the lab report. Oh, Aunt Chloe is pregnant? This is great news, Dad. Why are you angry? My words successfully made Chloe's mom's face turn even paler. Mr. Harrison was so angry his face turned green. Then I pretended to be surprised and picked up the photos on the floor. Each photo showed Chloe's mom with a young man, the angles precisely capturing the undisguised affection on her face. I felt contempt inwardly but looked shocked on the outside. Aunt Chloe, how could you? I quickly threw the photos back on the floor and then pleaded with Mr. Harrison. Dad, you're never home. Aunt Chloe must have been deceived. Don't blame her. Humph. Ask her how much money she stole from me. She even dared to sell my company shares. Mr. Harrison angrily threw a stack of papers at Chloe's mom's face. The woman seemed to know that any defense was useless this time and could only kneel there stiffly. Dad, getting a divorce or making any big moves now could easily affect our company's stock. Why don't we just send Aunt Chloe away? This was my purpose for staying today. I had to ensure this woman's affairs didn't affect Chloe. Hearing my words, Mr. Harrison finally began to think rationally. We are expanding into new business areas, and online investors are watching us. It's best to suppress this matter, Dad. Mr. Harrison nodded approvingly. You're right. I'll throw this woman out of the country tomorrow. Seeing my goal achieved, I no longer paid attention to the pale-faced woman on the floor and returned to my bedroom. Then I opened my banking interface and transferred 1 million. Goods delivered, money paid. Go far away, brother. The man with Chloe's mom was someone I had found. I knew she couldn't control herself, so I found a male escort, promised him 5 million to save his mother's illness, and asked him to make this woman fall deeply in love, preferably even get pregnant, and then trick her out of her shares and run away. The shares he tricked her out of were sold by me piecemeal online for cash. This 1 million was the final payment. After this, we agreed not to disturb each other. Before Chloe returned, Chloe's mom was sent to Korea. Mr. Harrison specifically found a few professionally trained people to watch her. As for the unwanted child in her belly, it was forcibly aborted. When Chloe returned, she didn't express any suspicion about her mother's whereabouts. This made me breathe a sigh of relief. Unexpectedly, Mr. Harrison didn't say much to Chloe either. Recently, Harrison Incorporated was undergoing a transformation, and he was very busy with no time to manage us. The day Chloe went to participate in the biology competition, I didn't send her off. I said I had a physical therapy appointment at the hospital. Actually, I went to take the TOEFL. The results of the biology competition came out quickly. Chloe and Liam's team won first place in the province, securing a guaranteed admission spot at Q University. I bought Chloe a new laptop to celebrate her successful admission. Brother, I'll wait for you at Q University. We have to be together. Chloe linked her arm through mine, her smile beautiful. She didn't know that my TOEFL results were also out, and I had also received an offer from a foreign university. In the second semester of senior year, Chloe no longer needed to attend school. To create the illusion for her that I still had to take the college entrance exam, I still reported to school on time every day. So Chloe also accompanied me. I thought Liam might be accompanying Chloe, so he would also appear on campus every day. Rumors began to spread wildly in the school about the beautiful love story of Chloe and Liam, talented and good-looking, getting guaranteed admission together. And as her brother, I became the most insignificant part of the story. That was right. I was originally the villainous supporting male character in this book. Now that I had finally straightened out the female lead and prevented her from becoming mentally twisted, I should also gracefully exit. I found an opportunity to have a long talk with Mr. Harrison. He still hoped I would take the college entrance exam, get a score, and then go abroad. I felt it wouldn't affect me much, so I agreed. On the day of the college entrance exam, Chloe wore a green dress and accompanied me to the exam hall. She said wearing green would give me a green light all the way, and I would definitely get into Q University. I smiled and said nothing. After the exam, I hired a lawyer and went through some procedures. Then I opened a bank account for Chloe and deposited all the money I had earned from selling the shares into it. Taking advantage of Chloe saying she had arranged to go to the bookstore with Liam, I packed my luggage, booked a flight, and rushed to the airport. I watched as the plane's departure time gradually approached. Scenes from the past few years flashed through my mind, bit by bit. From the first time I saw Chloe, she was still a malnourished little sprout. Now she was elegant and graceful, had found her lover, and secured admission to Q University. After doing so much, she should be able to let go of her hatred for the Harrison family and forgive Ethan for the bullying in their childhood, right? Thinking of this, I smiled faintly. I just wondered if she would be angry when she found out I had gone abroad. The boarding announcement sounded at the airport. I was pushing my suitcase, about to board, when someone hugged me tightly from behind. "Brother, don't you want me anymore?" I turned around, flustered, looking at Chloe's tear-streaked face. I opened my mouth, but in the end, it only turned into one sentence. "How did you know?" Chloe hit my chest resentfully. "Why are you going abroad behind my back? If Dad hadn't told me, were you planning to abandon me and not want me anymore? Mr. Harrison? Why would he?" My eyes showed confusion. Chloe was crying very sadly beside me. "Dad said you clearly have enough points for Q University. Tell me, why are you going abroad?" I looked at Chloe, who was crying so hard she was out of breath, and sighed helplessly. Mr. Harrison had really sold me out completely this time. "Chloe, listen to me. You're grown up now, you don't need your brother anymore. I also have to go out and live my own life. I don't want to. I won't let you go." Chloe was rarely this willful, making me not know whether to laugh or cry. "Chloe, be good, or I'll call Liam." I tried to threaten her with Liam. "What does it have to do with Liam?" Chloe blinked her innocent big eyes at me, puzzled. "You two are going to be lovers in the future." I finally said this sentence, and the pent-up frustration in my chest was released. Chloe seemed shocked by my words, then kicked my leg angrily. "Ethan, you're not human." My leg, which hadn't fully healed, almost became lame again from her kick. Then she practically wailed. People at the airport were all looking at us. Soon, a staff member came over and asked if I needed help. I really didn't dare to leave forcefully anymore. I had to take Chloe back. I thought I'd pacify her first and then leave. Back home, Mr. Harrison was waiting for me. "Indeed, only Chloe can bring you back." Mr. Harrison's expression was hard to read, looking very strange. Chloe had almost finished crying by now, her eyes swollen like walnuts. I felt sorry for her and quickly asked someone to get her something to apply to them. Mr. Harrison shook his head upon seeing this. "You, being so completely controlled by her, still want to study abroad." I knew the original Ethan had a terrible reputation, so I didn't dare act too obviously. I completely couldn't understand the current situation. "I told Dad I want to marry you. Dad said if I can return to Harrison Incorporated to work after graduation, he'll agree." Chloe's light words struck me like a bolt from the blue. "You even sold shares and wanted to go abroad. Did you think your little tricks could fool me?" Mr. Harrison raised an eyebrow, looking profound and inscrutable. I felt like I was the clown of this world. "Then what about Liam? And why did you participate in the biology competition?" Unreasonable, too unreasonable. I suspected Chloe was being threatened by Mr. Harrison. "Wasn't that to get guaranteed admission to Q University? Dad said if I could get guaranteed admission, he would agree to let you study the major you like." Chloe's eyes were red as she looked at me accusingly. "Over here, the princess is overcoming all obstacles, while her prince is thinking of running away. Ethan, you really don't act like a son of our Harrison family. Chloe, on the other hand, has a bit of my shadow." Mr. Harrison patted Chloe's shoulder with undisguised admiration. Then he left, leaving Chloe and me staring at each other. This world must have gone crazy. Chloe walked over to me and grabbed my collar. "Ethan, from the moment you picked me up and rushed into the school nurse's office, you couldn't escape. Resign yourself to fate." Chloe's gaze, a departure from her usual innocent and cute demeanor, was full of paranoia and stubbornness. Only then did I realize that the female lead's personality had never changed. It was just that I had become the destined male lead in her heart. And at this moment I was willingly accepting all of it.